Commandcentre is where we tell you the ongoing successes on the war against terror. It will give you a panorama. In the face of an ongoing insurgency in the northeast. Good day. You are welcome to the program Commandcentre. Live from the Silverbird Television Abuja studios, we'll bring you an up-to-date information on the war against terror. My name is Amadine Uyi, and I am your host on this program. It's not denying the fact that the campaign against terrorism is taking its toll on the nation. With millions displaced and thousands killed by Boko Haram, which has made it clear it has no regard for the sanctity of human lives, the Nigerian military has had its hands full in the last few years. However, the performance of the military against the terrorists has continued to serve as a source of hope and inspiration to millions of Nigerians. In the last 2 years, we have seen territories reclaimed, thousands of men and women captured by the sect freed, and the Nigerian military asserting its authority in enforcing its constitutional mandate, which is maintaining the territorial integrity of the country. Today on the program, we have the Director of Defense Information, Major General John Eneche, on the show. He will give us a first-hand appraisal on the war against terror. You can join the conversation by liking our Facebook page, STV Commandcentre, and follow us on Twitter via our Twitter handle, @Commandcentre16. Stay tuned.
Terrorism is not jihad. It is cruel, wicked, and man's inhumanity to man. Both Islam and Christianity abhor the killings of the weak and defenseless. There can be no development without peace and security. See something, say something. Let's give peace a chance.
Welcome back. Like we said earlier, we have a very big one in the studios today. Major General John Eneche. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
It's nice having you making out time for Commandcentre out of your very busy schedule.
It's worth it to reach out to Nigerians and the general public.
Okay. The efforts against terrorism, we know that from 2 years ago till now, it's been a different story. When I mean different story, I mean maintaining human rights, reclaiming territories, reducing the attacks on soft targets. How will you appraise it in your own view, the efforts against terrorism by the Nigerian military?
Thank you very much. From my own perspective as a military analyst, considering where we were 5 years ago, let me come as close as 2 years ago. I would say that a lot has been achieved under the able command leadership of the Chief of the Defense Staff, General A.G. Olonishakin, and then the service chiefs under Lieutenant General Buratai, the Chief of the Naval Staff and the Chief of the Air Staff. Now, as it were, territories, like you rightly mentioned, were under total control of insurgents who wanted to carve out territories for themselves, who wanted to carve out emirates for themselves, who wanted to carve out empires for themselves, of course, which they had some level of control. People were paying taxes, people were not going to farm, amongst others. But as it sits today, there is no single inch of land, 1 centimeter under the total control of what we used to have as insurgents now, but have turned to terrorists completely. As it were, it was terrogency, terrorizing and insurgency put together. But it has been reduced totally only to skirmishes of terrorism here and there. I'm so sure people will be surprised hearing that I'm saying skirmishes of terrorism here and there. Yes, because the freedom of action they had, that they could just go into a church and kill over 100 in thousands, in hundreds, it's no longer there. It's limited now to a few tens of numbers. And then they were using adults as suicide bombers, as it were. But today, in addition to having lost all the territories completely, they no longer have that freedom of action, even with the skirmishes of terrorism that we have all over the whole place. So I will now say that, look, to a large extent, 75% is a plus. It's an A grade in anywhere. We have done that because if you weigh it against countries who have been in this condition, particularly in Asia, I think we have done a lot, much well in this regard for having curtailed the insurgency almost completely and then terrorism to a good extent. So we have done well.
Okay, now for you, I just want to appraise the tenure of the Chief of Defense Staff. We've had a Chief of Defense Staff who's been hardly in the news, very quiet, but his impact has been felt on the field. For us who have followed the campaign against Boko Haram, we've seen a reinvigorated Nigerian military. We've seen soldiers who would put in their all to see that this menace is raided. For you, who has been the spokesman of the image maker of the defense headquarters, what's been like in terms of morale?
Yes, I will say that under the leadership of the present Chief of the Defense Staff, General A.G. Eneche, it has been wonderful when you talk about morale. Of course, that will not be, let me say that you can hardly satisfy a human being. But like I said earlier on, I'm talking from the perspective of an analyst and from somebody who has been in the field. I fought in the Northeast 18 years ago when this group of people were captured as bandits, but they translated from one form to the other. I worked at the defense headquarters before, and I have been following as a military teacher, directing staff from the National Defense College. I started following it from when this set of service chiefs came on board, and the various commanders up to Lucky Rabo came on board and started monitoring them. I will say that in the area of morale and admin, it has been wonderful. Why? Because they followed strictly their vision. What am I saying? In the area of vision, the Chief of the Defense Staff crafted a vision of which dovetailed into the services of having a responsive armed forces, that their morale and training is kept at a premium, which is what is happening now. If I can give you a breakdown of the total kind of trainings that we have, particularly in the kind of special operations that we undertake now, it did not come overnight. People were trained under the what? The initiative of the Chief of the Defense Staff. Materials, or we call it material in the military, being provided to the people and the men in the fronts now. That has been the reason responsible for the high morale to a large extent of the troops, and that is why we are recording the successes that we are recording. So to me, he has achieved a lot, and it's just a question of a visionary leader. He's a visionary leader that keeps to his vision and ensures that, all hands are on deck, from amongst the service chiefs down to the troops in the field. That is the reason.
Now, sir, with the successes which we have seen in the last 2 years, Commandcentre, we've been on ground several times in the Northeast, even before these territories were taken. But right now, there's no territory in the hands of Boko Haram. Thousands, and when I mean thousands, we talk of women and children who have been held captive, which you earlier stated, returned back to, some of them returned back to safer places, some of them, even right now, they are still returning back to their communities. With these successes, Nigerians would have thought the campaign would have been over. What is the delay?
Let me tell you categorically, whatever you see being played out now, to a large extent, conforms to what happens naturally. Let me give one illustration. The Boko Haram terrorists, I would liken them to people that have or had an enclave in an ant hill. Ants or termites, they have a kingdom. And once you break that hill or kingdom, they just gush out. And as they are gushing out, they are not gushing out to any definite place. Gushing out of confusion, out of frustration, or even trying to terrorize the people around. But in the end, what happens? They get totally cleared and destroyed. That is what you are seeing. That people have not seen the end. They are still gushing out. Up till as recent as yesterday. People who monitor news will agree with me that they are still arresting them all over the whole place. As at this morning, I have reports from about 3 locations of those that were captured in the course of escaping. Open confession, clear, convincing confession that they all, ran out of enclaves or where they went into hiding after the bombardment at Sambisa barracks, and that they are suffering. There's no more place for them, and that is why they are running away. So that is what you see happening. Again, people may tend to see that, look, it's not ending. Let me tell the general public that we still have collaborators and sympathizers. They are out there. Terrorism is resilient. There are people who have made up their mind. I keep saying that they must die, whatever you do. Their consciences have been smeared. They are like devils, and they are out there. People that don't have any value for anything that has life, whether it is a plant or a human being. Those people are there. And they are the ones that are luring innocent, mostly young girls who don't have any authority. They don't have any control, even over themselves. 12 years old, 13 years old, what does those ones know? Nothing. They will tell them, just go and do this. You are fighting for, God. That is not real. Deceive them to go and commit suicide actions against innocent people. That is what is happening. So it is the gushing out of where they were flushed out from that you are seeing. And it is normal in the process of decimating, clearing, and then until we now consolidate finally and do the final occupation. That is what you are seeing. It is not that, the trend is going, but this is a stage of it. It was necessary for them to be rooted out of their strong bases. Wherever they are now, they are just in pockets. And like I illustrated earlier on, when you break an ant hill, they just gush out, and they will all be cleared.
Okay, let's talk about this manipulation of young girls. I know I've asked you this question before, and I know that the Nigerian military is doing so much to bring an end to the bomb attacks we have seen. Can you just tell our viewers what the Nigerian military is doing, the efforts so far in trying to reduce the bomb attacks we have seen or we hear of?
Yes, it is a multi-sectoral approach that we are using. Of course, you know that it will not be easy, and it's not even practicable for us to send out the men in the fronts, those ones that will be manning the platforms, the equipment, and even those who manning even the ISRs, what I mean, intelligence, surveillance, and then recce equipments, no. All we have are, well, let me open up to a little, because some of the people out there will want you to be our informants. We have them. Those are the people that are out there. We collaborate with them. The other agencies, what we are supposed to do is to be sensitizing, churning out narratives and messages to the general public. The young people who don't have their own willpower to make up their mind on what they know is right to do is messages, messages, and messages. And in this regard, I must say that the Borno State government, the opinion leaders, religious leaders, they are doing a lot. We are collaborating with them, and we are encouraging them. And on our own part, we are using our various mediums, particularly Lafayette Adore radio station and all, and then other means like leaflets and all the measures of media outreach. We are using it to get out to the general public, particularly in that area, for them to denounce, for them to reject all the ideologies, and for them to cooperate and collaborate with them. That is the effort that is on now. In addition to that, there are activities we carry out, civil-military relation activities, civil-military cooperation activities in the area of projects that we can do around every locality. The other day, you will see that it was all over the whole place, that the military men, the soldiers particularly, were patching potholes to ensure that the places become motorable, where these people had planted the IEDs before and then bombs on the road to destroy the roads. So those are the various areas and various means. The Air Force, for instance, medical outreaches, at the IDP camps, and then even the locals. Once these things are going on, locals are they are encouraged to come. And then there are some other areas where boreholes have been drilled to ensure that, look, we win the hearts and minds of the people. And they will be easily convinced that the federal government, the government of Nigeria, the people of Nigeria are in support of them, using their agencies, amongst which is the military. So those are the measures in place now, and we'll continue to improve on them, continue to fashion out other means to ensure that we get their support and then encourage them.
Now, sir, in your anthill illustration, there was one point of note I think you skipped. You talked about arrests of Boko Haram around the country. But you didn't mention that in the last few days, we have seen hundreds of these young men surrender. Is this a sign that the campaign is definitely wrapping up? Yes.
No. Well, let me tell you, the issue, you say I skipped years, and then I may not accept that completely. Now, surrendering is, a different thing completely from capturing or from arresting. Now, let the public know, because we will need people to also give us information. And we also need you to counsel people and encourage them to surrender. When you surrender, you become an ex-combatant. When somebody surrenders, you submit the weapons of war, the weapons of mass destruction, the weapons of individual destruction, the weapons, the guns that you use, and then the ammunitions. That is, they get special treatment according to the conventions and the laws of armed conflicts. You treat them very humanely, normally like your own soldiers. Now, when you arrest, you profile them properly. They may be telling you lies, but a man that comes and hand over an AK-47 to you with 20 rounds, 30 rounds, or 100 rounds, you know that this man is genuine. You now take him in. Then you now take him through the process of de-radicalization, retraining, reintegration, and then rehabilitation, which we have a facility for them at Gombe. So two things between this. But now, all these points to the fact that, look, there is effect in our effort, the kinetic effort that we are using. That is through the land patrols and actions by the army, and then they won by the Air Force through the bombardments and all, and they are now coming out. So there is hope that when this continues, in less than no time, that one will be completely nipped. Then it will be left for handling the terrorism aspect, which we are doing. So it is a pointer that there is success and there is progress.
Okay, time is now upon us. You've said so much. But I would just like you to talk about the safe corridor. I know once upon a time, the federal government set up a safe corridor, which you have encouraged people to talk to these terrorists and their sympathizers. Is that safe corridor still open and available for those terrorists that want to give up this ignoble campaign and submit themselves to the Nigerian military?
I want to assume that probably some of the collaborators, the sponsors are listening to me, are watching. Yes, because this is one of the means they get their information, intelligence. I want to say categorically yes. As I speak, we have 95 of them in the training facility. Very comfortable facility in Gombe. And at the end of the 6 weeks, from the time you are admitted into that camp, you will graduate. And it is left for them to have an option, either to something like carpentry, amongst other trades, tailoring so many several as applicable in the Directorate of National Directorate of Employment. We are working with them. It's a multi-sectoral, effort that we are doing. We are not doing it alone. So I want to assure them, wherever they are, that the better and the earlier they come out. Surrender. Come with your weapons, what they are using to terrorize the general public in the Northeast and elsewhere. Let them come out with it. And they will be received very well, given all the opportunities and privileges that goes with Operation Safe Corridor. And again, I also want to let them know that at the end of the training, they will not just be let into the air. The commission that is in charge, we are partnering with other agencies, like I said, it's a multilateral government agency. We even attempt to get them places where they can settle. Some of them can be settled like they do little packages for you to start up your, your own personal venture or whatever. So it is not like you are trained, and then you are thrown out into the public. No, they will be well catered for with this program. So the arrangement is still on as I speak. Yes, and the over 700 of them who volunteered, who in signified interest through various sources communicated to us that they want to come out, we are encouraging them to come out. We have not even gotten that number yet, but we are waiting for them and we are hoping that they will come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
You have heard it loud and clear. This is much we can take. That was Major General John Eneche. We have always known him to be a man of his words. And not only warning the terrorists that there is no hiding place within Nigeria's territorial integrity for terrorism, he is giving his word that Operation Safe Corridor is still open and is still accessible to any terrorist willing to surrender, lay down their arms, and embrace peace and amnesty. He has given his word that the Nigerian military will go all out, treat you humanely as a Nigerian soldier, empower you with skills. You can send us your questions and comment via our Facebook page, STV Command Center, and also like our Twitter handle at Commandcentre16. We'll be glad to keep the conversation going. I remain your amiable host, Amadine Uyi. Do have a wonderful week. Commandcentre is where we tell you the ongoing successes on the war against terror. It will give you a panorama. In the face of an ongoing insurgency in the Northeast.